Alright, so I'm going to do a quick little video here of how to find an issue with a vehicle not starting. This particular vehicle is a coach, and the guy I was working with had taken a couple recordings for me. We had a suspicion what was going on, but we just wanted to confirm the problem, and then after he made a repair, confirm that it was working. So he actually took two traces, one before when the issue was happening, and one after he fixed the problem. So the first thing I want to show you is I have two trace files here in the program, and the first one is the no start trace, where the vehicle, he attempted to start it 3 times, and the first time it started, the second time it did not, the third time it started. So if you open, I had him take a trace file, and this way you can get very granular information from the CAN line. And we're going to use the plotter function in PCAN Explorer to look at the engine speed, because the suspicion is that the coach is not always seeing engine speed when we push the start button. So I'll use the plotter here, and I'll open up a nice window to use. And here at the top you have import from tracer, the button right here. From here we'll do no start, and we'll hit OK. And the program will look through the trace file and find all of the signals, the Jan1939 signals that match. In our case, we're looking for the engine speed. I'll scroll down for a lot of signals in here. Go through engine speed right here. Click that, and then you have create a separate y-axis for imported signals, which we don't have to worry about here because we're only looking at one. But if I was looking at multiple signals, I would click this to plot them on different, all individually. And then you have zoom the x-axis, which is the time, to fit all of the data, and then zoom the y-axis to fit all the engine speeds possible that have been recorded. So we'll leave these to zoom, and I'll hit OK. And then you'll see here we have a recording of the engine speed. I have an old signal here actually that stayed on, and you can get rid of that if you right click on it. You can clear the data, and then that'll go away. It'll go off the chart. You can also get rid of it completely if you want to remove the channel. And now we're just looking at the engine speed. And so here you can see it goes along. He attempts to start the coach. The engine speed starts to come up, and then something happens, some anomaly happens right here. But the engine speed eventually continues all the way up, and it comes up to about 600 RPM. And then he shuts it off, which is good. And then a few seconds later, he tries to start it again, and you can see now it travels up, but then drops very quickly for some reason, and then travels back up again, and then drops very quickly again before nothing. So in this case, it was a failed start on this vehicle. And then he attempted to start it again a couple seconds later. It went up. There's a small anomaly here, but then it continued to go all the way up and actually smoothed out like we would expect to see when the engine starts and goes back to idle. So clearly there's an issue with the engine speed signal. He went through and looked at the crank shaft speed sensor and found that it was actually not seated all the way into the block correctly. And so with that, he addressed the issue and got it seated correctly, and realized also that there's a broken clamp that holds it in place, which still needs to be fixed. However, after pushing the sensor in all the way, he took another trace, the no start 2 trace over here, which if I double click on that one, I can load that up into the program. And then from here, we can do another plot. So go up to plotter, and then I open the file here, import from tracer. And I have the option now to import no start 2. I can import either one of them. I'm going to do no start 2 to look at what happened after he fixed the sensor. Same thing, we're going to look for engine. You can just click E to start with the E section. So we want engine speed. Be right here. There we go. Hit OK. And now, if you notice the difference, I'll hide these and try to show them on the same screen. Put this one over here, and then we'll squish it down a little bit, put this one down a little bit, and now you can probably notice the 3 start attempts, that anomaly that used to be right here, see right up here on the top, it's no longer there. the engine speed starts to increase quickly, and it goes all the way up until it starts, and then it idles, and then it shuts off. And they did it again, goes all the way up, idles, shuts off. If you look over here, you can see this whole mess that we had before, that doesn't exist anymore. And none of these have a dropout in the beginning, right here, and right here. So clearly addressing that sensor on the engine, even though there were no fault codes on the engine, addressing the sensor on the engine fixed this issue. And we were able to corroborate that the repair was actually fixed. Some people would say we just use the software for like the engine to see these values. However, the software is a little slow and laggy, so the technician didn't even realize that the RPMs are dropping out like this. He just knew there was an issue, but it happened so quickly. I mean, this is milliseconds of time here. It happened so quickly that he didn't even realize what was going on. The bus itself looks for engine speed within 1 second, otherwise it stops cranking. So clearly this happened within 1 second, and you wouldn't have been able to notice it on the computer software that runs the engine. So that's just a really simple and good example of how to use CAN traces to troubleshoot problems that you wouldn't normally be able to see very easily. And this can also be done remotely. He was on the other side of the country from me, but he was able to send me this trace, and with a little bit of conversation back and forth, I was able to walk him through and point out that the issue was really there. And then after he fixed the issue, we can see on the bottom trace here that the issue clearly got better and is most likely no longer a problem. And with that, I appreciate your time. And if this video was useful and helpful to you, like and subscribe, comment. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, and in particular what kind of stuff you'd like to see. Thank you.